Okay then folks, here we go. Here is the latest G.I. Joe Classified Series pre-order to arrive here at MoDXtra Games and Collectibles Towers. It is the Cobra Arctic B.A.T. Very exciting. Nice to see some of the new stuff coming through with a nice pace and momentum, nice and consistent. So I'm getting new G.I. Joes fairly regularly at the moment. We'll see if that carries on. Now, I'm not one usually for buying a repeat character. I've said this before. I'm not a fan of repaints necessarily. There'd have to be a significant improvement or change to drive me to picking up a repeat character. And on the surface, we'll find out through the course of this video, but on the surface, this looks like it's got a lot of extra added value and bits and bobs of improvements or changes that have made it worthwhile me picking up. So you won't see me getting a Crimson Bat, but you will see me getting an Arctic Bat because I like all the additional extras that are new and shiny and different. So here's the packaging. We've got the new look, feel, design with the black bordered motif, the digital rendered photo thing of the character in an action scene. Oh, I just recently did a Easter eggs video, and I'm wondering if that crash plane and that plane there is an Easter egg that I've missed. I'll go back and check that one. And then we've got this nice little bit of painted artwork on the side there, and a bit showing off all the included extra goodies. Now, I'm quite a fan of this new look, new feel, new design, and I know that the windowless packaging issue is a bit of a polarizing debate across the action figure community, but I'm into this one. I'm actually a bit sad that they're going back to window packaging. We're going to lose all this fun stuff on the front there, but, you know, horses for courses at the end of the day. Let's take a quick look at the back. Right, here we go then. So we've got a digital render of the figure and all the included accessories. Gives you the height, it's 6.5 inches. A couple of focal areas here showing off the detail in the bionic arm and the detail in the, is it the paint application maybe on the visor that they're showing off there? I don't know, but a few focal points. It's number 69 in the line.
If you guys are really us, what number are we thinking of? 69, dudes!
All the legal bollocks and malarkey across the bottom there. Then the data card information, they've been tucking these in to this little section here and a very small section on the side. Looks like the Arctic Bat has got some kind of icicle shieldy thing going on there. That's clearly a picture of a t-shirt gun. So I think possibly the Arctic Bat volunteers down at a local baseball ground. Then we've got a fist bump. So the Arctic Bat is one of the bros. What's this one here? Oh, that's like a little snowflakey thing. It looks like the Arctic Bat's had the scissors out, had the paper out, done a bit of folding, and made a nice little snowflake design to decorate the house come winter. So there we go. Let's have a look at the sides. A much bigger version of the painted artwork there on this side here. That's a really great picture, actually. You may not be getting the benefit of it on the camera, but up close, there's lots of lovely painted detail in there. That's a very, very good piece of artwork. Number 69 in the line. And then on the other side, we got the QR code, doobly what's it, with a little cobra symbol right in the middle there, actually. I wonder if that means it's changed in any way. Takes you to a load of colouring pages with animals. Lovely elephant, fox, giraffe, a llama. Well, that's a cute monkey. Yeah, colouring pages. That's good, isn't it? And then more legal bollocks and malarkey across the bottom. Right, let's get the bat opened up then. I've already popped the tape at the bottom here, so I'll do that and do that. We've got the little weapons locker thing. Still in the black design there. It's number 69 with the Arctic Bat on it. And then the Arctic Bat will be in this cardboard frame. Yes, there we go. There's the Arctic Bat with this new look, new feel cardboard frame with the artwork on the back. Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, right, yeah. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Let me just break this string here. All right, just loosen the string off camera. But let's get into the weapons locker first. So open it up at the top here. We've got the standard baggie and... oh! Paperwork. Feels like a nice big bundle of goodies in there. Are they all at the bottom? Yes, they are. So let's just tear that neatly across the top there, or kind of neatly across the top there. Get those, all that stuff. Oh, look at all this. Lovely, lovely. Got the backpack, this really great like sniper rifle thing that they're coming with now. The head swap. The chainsaw hand, I'll bet that's a big influencing factor for many folks as to whether they'll pick up an Arctic Bat or not. The 2 different chest plates, the battle damage and the Cobra symboled one. Like a little, what's that, like a suppressor type thing? I'll check that in a minute. The pistol, that's the same as the first bat. And, oh, what's that? Is that another, like a different chest plate with a set of pouches on the front. That's interesting, isn't it? Awesome. And then the figure. Let's get the figure out. There we go. And there we go then, folks. There's the Arctic Bat with a wealth of added value goodies. So, as usual, I'm going to go away now, get some playtime in, take some photos, have some fun, enjoy myself with the bat, get real hands-on. I don't like to review straight out of box, so yeah, get hands-on, have some fun times with it, get it displayed, see how it fits in the display with some of the Cobras and whatnot, and I'll be back in a couple of days to share some review thoughts. So stick around if you want to hear more about the Arctic Bat, and I'll be back. Future Chris will be back in 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go then, folks. Here is the Cobra Arctic Bat in hand. It's been a couple of days now since I recorded the unboxing section of the video that you have just watched. In fact, more than a couple of days. This guy came on Friday and it's now Tuesday at time of recording, and so I've had a good weekend's worth of play with this guy. Got good and hands-on, good and man-childy with it. I've been posing it up, been putting it in displays, getting it out with some of my other figures, and just generally having a good time. Even took some photos last night. And so now I'm ready to come back and share a few review thoughts on the fig. Now, just to let you know, if you're new around these parts, a MoDXtra Games and Collectibles review section of a video is made up of 3 parts that I call the 3 A's. The first A is aesthetic, talking about the visual experience of the figure. Let's get into paint applications, let's talk about sculpting details, let's talk about textures, and just the overall impact that the figure has on the eye. How does it look? Then on to the second A, which is articulation. How does the Arctic Bat move? How does it pose? What's it look like in display? What are the possibilities with it? And then finally, into the third A, which is accessories and added value. Just talking a little bit about all the extra goodies that Hasbro have chucked in with the Arctic Bat to enhance our play experience. And with all that said and done, it's my hope that the thoughts I share today will help you make up your mind as to whether an Arctic Bat from the G.I. Joe Classified Series line is for you. So let's not dilly-dally around, let's get into it, and let's talk about the aesthetic. Okay, then I've brought the Arctic Bat nearer to the camera so that we can take a closer look at the visual details on the figure. And the first thing, or the first element that I want to focus on is the new head sculpt. A big contributing factor to my decision to pick up this figure. I'm on the record, regular viewers will know that I'm not a big fan of picking up duplicates of characters I already own unless there's an improvement or a unique element, a new unique element that sets it apart from the original, over and above just a repainted book. And I think the head sculpt is a big contributing factor to this not being just a straight up repaint of the original Bat when you compare it to, say, the Crimson Bat version. And so the head sculpt is really interesting. It's got a very cool kind of like anime robo vibe around it, which I'm a big fan of, with this big kind of central eye scanner thing. This vent on the front gives it a kind of aggressive, growly teeth look, which is lovely. Got the nice detailed paint applications there, the red dots that surround the kind of core camera thing, and then the silver ring with the black center there. Really great sculpt, very detailed, looks lovely, and that carries on all the way around the helmet. You can see it's all really well sculpted in with all these paint applications, giving it some fine detail lift, which I'm a big fan of. So I like the new head sculpt. I feel like it's a very eye-catching element to the figure, and I like that it separates it a great deal from the first original black and yellow and grey OG Bat. Some elements are the same, of course, but they're no less quality than they were on the original black and yellow Bat. This chest panel here with all the wiring and electronic components is the same. It's obviously had a new paint job because it's now in the kind of shiny blue, metallic blue look with the black details painted in it, but it looks good. The more silvery look and feel to the metallic parts, like this rim around the edge of the chest plate area there. The sculpt of the robotic arms is the same, but it's a kind of brighter, more silvery metallic paint job on it. You can see it going on here in some of the more trimmings, like at the top of the boot there, which is fine. So the repaint elements, the white, obviously the white body is the same body as the black version. Still got all the same lovely textured details, the fabric textured details in there that we loved the first time around and that we're often appreciative of in the G.I. Joe Classified Series line. And so it's certainly no movement backwards in quality. It was a great book to start with, and even in the areas that are identical and just painted differently, we've got some nice stuff going on. There is, of course, some new bits of gear to give it its own visual identity as well, like these big shoulder pads here. We've got the grey straps, the black pads. These are pretty decent. Again, even as a kind of an ancillary piece of add-on that they've just sort of strapped on top of the book, it's got the sculpted details in there. You can see the little rivets where it's been bolted together, which is a nice touch. This belt area here is all brand new with the pouches and the straps on it and stuff. It's nicely sculpted. These belts sometimes are a little bit of a letdown for me with the G.I. Joe Classified Series figures because it just seems to be the point at which they skimp out. Like that little clip clasp on the front there could have been black as well, or a different shade of paint for the this little strap coming down that's holding the this pouch tight and closed, but it's well sculpted. It gives it its own visual identity at a first glance to the original Bat, which is nice to see. And then of course we've got the thigh armor with the holster on it as well, which is a new different looking element. In fact, I think the original black and yellow one had the holster on the left leg, and this one's got the holster on the right leg. I'll check that in a bit. We'll do a comparison, but I'm pretty sure, if memory serves, the holster's on the other side. So it's nice to see them be creative, although again, could have maybe done with a bit of a paint application on the buckles and clasps, or maybe a different colour for the straps or something, just to go that little extra mile. I mean, they're already so far ahead of everyone else in the Hasbro line. Would it really be so bad as to slap a little bit of extra more paint on? But there we go. On the back there, another great example of the more silvery look metallic paint job on the robotic areas there. I really appreciate and love this attention to detail that we see from the G.I. Joe Classified design team, because that's an area there that is regularly not seen on the figure. Either you've got the backpack over it so you can't see it, or you more often than not are looking at your figure from the front in the display, not from the rear. And yet they still take the time to put some wires and cables and some mechanical components and some design elements and some bolts in there to bring it to life, give it some texture, add to the storytelling of it all, which I'm really appreciative of. That just shows that they care. One element that's bothered me a little bit aesthetically, can you see here on the arms where this the joint section around the elbow is a different shade of colour. It's grey, but it's not got the silver metallic paint applied to it, so it stands out as a different shade. Oh, you can really see it if I turn it around there like that. Can you see? So you've got this really lovely kind of metallic silvery paint job with all the great robot parts sculpting going on in there, and all the the pneumatics and what have you. And then you've got that bit that looks just super plasticky and stands out as a different shade against the rest of the arm. I'm like, oh, come on, couldn't you have painted that bit too? It's really annoying, because it's one of those things, one of those elements that I often refer to that say, well, once your eye catches it, you can't stop seeing it, and it just bugs you. So colour scheme wise, it's, called an Arctic Bat, and so it's wearing a white uniform with grey trimmings and silver robot parts. I don't know. It's on theme. It's on brand. It's doing what it's supposed to do. So the colour scheme is perfect. As part of the narrative element, the storytelling element of the character, the colour choices are spot on. The black elements there in the helmet, the shoulder pads, the holsters, and then some of the bits of trimmings give it a bit of a frame. There's a symmetry to it as well in terms of both the colour schemes and the design, which again is a narrative theme point, because this is an android. It's an android trooper. It's robotic. It's not biological in nature, so the symmetry of it all works really well and frames it up nicely, which I'm pleased with. The choice to do the metallic blue to give it a little bit of a splash of colour under the chest plate there is good, although that's reflecting hard under the lights of my little light box there, isn't it? Turn the lamp off for a minute to see how blue that is. There you go, you can see the blue better there. So, yeah, that's all working for me too, the colour schemes, etc. Although, when we get to accessories later, what I will discuss is the fact that that's a lovely attention to detail piece, again, like I mentioned about the Bat, but it'll largely be covered up, I think, the vast majority of the times, because they've provided a selection of chest plates there. But, colour scheme and overall kind of visual impact is sound. It's solid, definitely. Yeah, no two ways about it. And I'm loving this robot head sculpt. So yeah, it's solid. It's a good solid figure. It's definitely separated itself enough from the original Bat to give it its own personality and its own character. The new head and the new trimmings have definitely been a large contributing part to that, over and above the new paint scheme to be Arctic in nature. Yeah, I really love this kind of anime mecha style head. It seems just kind of really menacing, even more menacing than the kind of faceless visor look, I feel. But, other opinions are out there. But yeah, it's got a kind of real menacing vibe to it, which I'm really, really into. And so I feel like I've got no other choice but to give the Arctic Bat a good, solid MoDXtra Games and Collectibles thumbs up recommends for the aesthetic, because yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I can't wait for more Arctic-y stuff to come along and give a new little section of the display even more character and personality. Roll on Snowjob, roll on Snow Serpent. Right, so there you go. There's aesthetic. Let's now have a bit of a chat about the articulation. And, as far as articulation goes, if you've had a G.I. Joe Classified Series figure in hand before, there will be no surprises here. It's the standard G.I. Joe Classified articulation model that they've used like all the way through the line. So, and it's well known on this channel that I believe that is a high standard, a high quality standard of articulation that I enjoy a great deal. So, I'll give a quick run through for anyone who's new to G.I. Joe Classified, of course, and then I'll just point out some of the areas that is less about the articulation and more about QC, really, that I've come across. So starting above the shoulders, on the head, we've got the ball at the top, inside the head there, and then a ball at the bottom of the neck, giving good down, good up, tilt, swivel, all the way around with Exorcist. We got it all going on there. Great range of motion. So if you're into posing, into photography, there's lots of options available to you there. Hey, I tell you what, folks, these figures in white really freak out my light box. The lighting, my camera doesn't like it at all. I keep having to adjust settings and turn light brightness up and down. Hopefully, you're getting the usual standard of crisp image today, but I apologise if that's not the case. I feel like it's better when I put my hand in front of the lamp there. But anyway, where was I up to? Okay, yeah, shoulder articulation. So you can see the butterfly joint in there. Nice shuffle, good range of articulation, giving you a nice forward and back, all the way back to there, which is really good. You then got a hinge at the top of the shoulders, which will get you up to there. But as you can see, very tight and limited, not the full T. And then we've got the swivel here at the top of the bicep and tricep, and you can probably see there, very loose, very loose. And you definitely see it more when you're trying to leverage the whole arm to move the shoulder up. Yeah, so that's been a bit concerning, and the gap's gotten bigger and bigger on this side, on the right arm in particular. The gap's gotten bigger and bigger as I've done more posing and playing around with the figure since I got it on Friday, so that's an area of concern. Then the double elbow going all the way up to there, although I feel like it looks a bit weird when you fully articulate it all the way up to there. Then the standard pegged-in hands, which give the swivel, and then both hands have got a forward and back hinge on them, going forward and back like so. Into the torso area, we've got the ab crunch in the middle there, good range of motion moving forward, good range of motion moving backwards, and then there's a swivel in the waist that, as you can see, is obscured by this belt across the middle. Standard G.I. Joe Classified drop-down joint in the groin area there, which gives a good range of motion. Get your Russian ballet on. Whoop. And a good solid forward kick. Swivel at the top of the thigh, very stiff on both figures, although I must admit I've not applied any heat to this Arctic Bat since I got it a couple of days ago. So maybe a little bit of heat should just tidy that up a bit, but yeah, it's there, just a bit tight. Double knee, getting you up to there. Swivel at the top of the boot, and then the hinge and rocker for your foot motion, and down the bottom there, giving you lots of posability through the legs. It's no secret that I'm a fan of the G.I. Joe Classified Series articulation. I think it's the best that Hasbro are putting out across all their lines at the moment. It does open up a world of possibility when it comes to posing for your shelf display or for your photography or for your stop motion or whatever you're looking to pose your figure up for. So I'm very happy with it on that front, and it's just more of the same as far as the Arctic B.A.T is concerned. I've got no complaints on that front. It's just a little bit QC iffy. The tight shoulders, the dodgy swivel at the top of the arms, the tight thighs, all felt a little bit, disappointing. I think what you find as well is because of the design of the Android robot arms, particularly when you've got some of the chainsaw accessory that I'll be coming to in a minute on it, when you're trying to use the arm to leverage like that hinge and stuff, it's you're pulling on, the tension, the way you're applying tension to it is increasing the size of that gap, which I don't think you get with your more kind of muscular, beefy soldier boys. Are just a bit of a QC concern. However, the articulation scheme itself is top notch, and with a bit of heat, I'm certain that'll loosen up, and with a bit of that stuff that Eric told me to use, should tighten up the arms there and everything will be hunky-dory, so that's fine. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up, a MoDXtra thumbs up for articulation. It's there, it's good, it's solid. I've found lots of interesting kind of poses to get him into, and I've been enjoying myself, my play experience in terms of what the articulation opens up to me is good. Just some issues with my particular one out of the box. Right, okay, that's all done. Let's now take a look at the accessories and added value. And I'm going to get started with the head swap. Here's the head swap. It's the more traditional looking bat helmet head. It's not really a helmet if it's your head, is it? But it's, the contoured shape with the T-shaped visor on the front. They've put a few nice touches on it to separate it from the other head swap. Let me pop it on the figure so we can take a closer look. There we go, popped on the figure. Usual, pull it off, got the peg at the top, pop it back on. There's some nice touches here to separate it from the other head sculpt on the original black and yellow bat. The visor here has got this great little kind of gradient colour scheme. It's got a little bit of metallic blue matching the panel on the front, but then this sort of glowing greeny yellowy thing in the centre. That's a nice touch, nice little aesthetic touch there. A couple of paint applications in the grills and the vents, but then we've got this added stripe down the right hand side of the helmet, and then some printed text there that says Arctic Polarized. Okay. But yeah, that's fine. That's it's the classic bat looking head, but with the different paint applications on. One of the things that bothers me about it, actually, I must admit, is that the white feels very different to the white in the main body. I'm not sure under this lighting whether you can quite tell, but it's got a different degrees of whiteness in the helmet compared to the body, and therefore it's got a little bit of a clash. That's fine. It is what it is. I've clearly expressed my desire to stick with the new head on this figure, but if you're looking for a more classic look, the head swap is pretty good. I'm liking this gradient visor colour scheme thing. Then we've got the chest plates, and the Arctic B.A.T doesn't come with just one chest plate, doesn't just come with two chest plates, but it comes with 3 chest plates to go on the front of the figure. All 3 of these are nice designs. It all obviously very much depends on what you're trying to achieve, what kind of effect you're trying to create in your display, in your photograph, etc., etc. We've got the kind of standard chest plate there with a black decal on it with the Cobra symbol. It's exactly the same as the original BAT's chest plate. However, the original BAT didn't have the Cobra symbol on it, but that's nice and neat and tidy. Then we've got the battle damaged version with the dents and the bits caved out of it, which is obviously lovely for a bit of narrative storytelling in your posing and displays and photography. And there's a nice added extra lovely element there, really acknowledging the way we like to get our hands on playtime with the figures. The only downside of that is that, unlike the original BAT, we don't have the battle damaged helmet to kind of give it a whole story across the entire figure. And then the third one, which I think might be my favourite, this is the one I've had him wearing in the display that I've had him in over the weekend is this sort of padded armor plated piece with a load of pouches across the front with presumably weapon magazines or whatever in them. And I kind of like that one for a couple of reasons. Again, it's another way of separating it in terms of character and personality from the black and yellow bat. Secondly, I like that there's a little bit of kind of... what am I trying to say? So, like, being out in the Arctic, and getting supplies is less frequent and less likely than the standard sort of urban combat bat that might have better supply lines and better access to ammunition and wouldn't need to carry quite as much about their person. So, again, there's a bit of a narrative. There's some storytelling going on there, and I like that. So I like the different flavour that one adds, and I like the layer of storytelling that it gives us. So that's the 3 chest plates. Then into the weapon selection, I'll start with the handgun. It's the same pistol that all the bats have had, just in a grey plastic mould rather than a black plastic mould. It's kind of cool. It's a nice funky pistol. Good sort of sculpted details in there. Got that nice balance that G.I. Joe Classified series do so well between the contemporary, real-life look and feel of the firearm with a little bit of a sci-fi, futuristic twist to it. I may be misspeaking there. I know there's a few folks that watch who got much more solid firearms knowledge than I do, so let me know in the comments down below if that's actually a replication of a real weapon, but I don't believe it is. I think it's kind of got a little bit of a laser gunny feel to it. I like the design, like the style, with the little laser pointer on the bottom and stuff, so that's good. And then he's got the holster there on his right leg that you could just pop that in storage on the figure, like so. Easy peasy lemony squeezy. Then we have this big old sniper rifle piece of kit here, which is a lovely looking weapon. Again, strikes the right balance between what appears to be a legitimate and genuine piece of weaponry, but it's got that, science fiction edge to it, being the gear on a, on a battle android. There's a lot to like about this weapon, but I must admit, even though it was an attractive feature and a bit of added value that helped me make my decision to pick up the Arctic version of the bat, I've now found, since having it in the hand, that the gun's been, that's not bit. I've had the handgun in his hand a lot more frequently. There's a couple of reasons for that. But working through the features, you can see the bipod here at the front. We've then got this removable suppressor thing that fits onto the barrel like that. Put my hand behind it so you can see it better, folks. And then we've got this bit. Let me turn it around the other way. Then we've got this bit here, which I had no idea what this was all about. My man Charlotte Prime on Instagram. All right, Eric, thanks for the help. Had to clear this one up for me. So we've got this little bit that comes out the bottom there like that. And I was like, what's this for? I don't understand how it's longer than the bipod. That's obviously, it's not going to help stand it. No, that's not what it's all about. It's where you reload it, because there's a little removable magazine there, look. That fits in a chamber underneath and then is locked in place by that foldable bit. So yeah, it's a nice interactive weapon. Good sculpted details again. I like the weapons when they've got 2 colour tones on them as well. This one, in fact, 3 if you count the grey pieces. But it's a bit annoying. This strap is strangely moulded, look. And it's very rigid, and I found it difficult to use in a good way for some of the pictures I was trying to take yesterday. The barrel, I think this is a common problem actually across the marketplace, was warped. Mine was really bent. I put a little bit of hairdryer action on it and tried to straighten it out as best I could, but I'm still not there, look. So we've got the whole kind of bendy rubber weapon problem with G.I. Joe Classified there. And finally, I find that when I put it in the bat's hand, because of the weird contour of the handle, it kind of sits in the hand a little bit funny. This rigid strap gets in the way of some of the posing that I've been trying to do, and it's a bit unwieldy. I've been struggling to kind of figure out how to get him to hold his rifle in anything other than the good old school, kind of just brandishing it out like that. So on the surface, the gun looks pretty good, but I've actually been a little unimpressed with the rifle, if I'm being honest. But who cares how impressed I am with the sniper rifle when we've got this piece of kit in there as well, which I am fully 100% interpreting as a weapon in the Bat's arsenal, no matter how much Lenny and Emily tried to describe it as a useful tool to use for chopping trees in the Arctic, or whatever ridiculous quote it was from the live stream. Now, this is clearly designed for slicing off the limbs of Joe's. Lovely paint applications on there. You can see you've got the little metallic bits in the core motor and chain area of the chainsaw. Got the teeth on it. Got the little exhaust here for the exhaust. Sculpted details in there, looks lovely. Got the peg to fit it on the hand. I've been popping it on the left arm like this, with the exhaust port pointing downwards and out like that. I don't know if that was the intended space, but I like the continuity of the metallic paint going from the arm into this motor section down here. But this is awesome. It's a great touch. Really brings another element to the bat, much more menacing, much more threatening image of a character there. And I've definitely seen photos knocking around on Instagram where folks have made the best use of this in terms of their photographic work, including all kinds of bloody extras that they bought. I can't remember. What's the name of the box? What's the name of the accessory pack with all the blood splatter and stuff in it? Anyway, I've seen it about. It looks fun, if not a little bit excessively gory. So obviously I popped this hand out to put the chainsaw on, and the final bit of accessories is the backpack, and this is the standard backpack with the peg holes in it for accessory storage. This is an interesting choice, and I'll explain as to why. Obviously, we've got the peg holes there to pop the hand in, just like you would do with the other bat design. It's a nice backpack, it's practical, it's got nice sculpted details. Would I like some paint applications to bring it to life even more? Yes, I would, especially in there. Fits on the back fine with the peg here going into the peg hole, nice and easy like so. But that's it. That's the extent of what the backpack does. Unlike the original mainline release that had the flamethrower and the laser arm and the grippy claw that all fitted into the additional slots, you've just got a space to put the hand, basically, when the chainsaw's on and nothing else. You could, in theory, chop and change the accessories from one to another, but the colour tone changes. There's the flamethrower from the original bat, and you can see that the colour scheme is very, very different. So your next instinct might be to take a look and see whether the backpack can store the chainsaw hand, so that when you've got both the normal grippy five-fingered hands on, you've got somewhere to put that. And it can. It is possible to do. I've been pegging it in this here, but as you can see, very loose fit. Very loose fit indeed. So I think maybe there was an intention that that be the case, that this would sit fitted on the backpack there, but the implementation has not turned out to be the case. So overall, yeah, it's a solid accessory selection. There's certainly a lot of value chucked in with the package because it's got a good, healthy number of added value accessories in the mix, and there's a lot to like. I love the head swap. I like having options of that nature. So depending on what style preference you may have or what you're trying to do in terms of your display, your photograph, your stop motion, etc., etc., you've got choice, you've got options there. The chainsaw hand is just aggressively 80s cool. Got that real 80s action movie vibe about it, which I love. I like having a choice of chest plates in the mix as well, and I particularly like this third one here, which has got a different flavour to it than the other chest plates we've seen, so it's got its own personality for the Arctic bat. The backpack is what the backpack is. It's handy for storing the hand, but I think there's a flaw in there, and there's definitely something I'm missing about the strap on this sniper rifle and how it's supposed to be carried, or what we're supposed to be doing with that in terms of how we mount it on the figure. So if someone wants to let me know in the comments down below, or tag me in a Instagram photo or something that would clear that up for me, I'd greatly appreciate it. But still, the accessories add to the storytelling for sure. They add to the play experience for sure. They add to the display experience for sure. And on those 3 points, I've got to give it a thumbs up with just a few small criticisms in the small print. All right, okay, so that's all 3 of the A's with a thumbs up. Figure comparison time now then, folks, and I'm just going to start with another recent addition to the collection from the Joe side of the display. Here's Rock and Roll. I've had a little handgun thing going on with my Joe's display lately, so there he is with his pistol, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't got anything else snowy themed to put next to it, so I've just grabbed someone new. I hope that helps. And here we are then. Here is the Arctic Bat with the original bat. I was right. The holster is on the left leg. Well remembered, Chris. 2 stars for you. But yeah, I think that's an interesting comparison there, actually, because I do believe that the head sculpt and the different chest plate and the trimmings like the belt and the holsters and stuff on the thighs really does give the Arctic Bat a very distinctive flavour of its own, doesn't it? It gives it very much its own personality. The head sculpt in particular with that anime mecha style thing that I was talking about, along with the chainsaw hand, yeah, is really, really giving it a very different vibe, and I'm appreciating that. I mean, if I wanted them to look more uniformal, I believe swapping the head and the chest plate would then achieve that, but just those 2 simple elements there, having a shift up in the figure gives it its own personality, and I think I've referenced it through the course of the video, but popping them side by side like that, I think that really brings it to life, how they've both got their own vibe and their own place in that Cobra Force, you know, least of which is obviously the terrain type, but I think, yeah, definitely when you talk about storytelling and the characters of the storytelling, they're both bringing something new and exciting. So what else I've just noticed by comparing them, they got different necks. I didn't realise that when I reviewed the aesthetic earlier. I much prefer the neck on the Arctic Bat with those extra kind of pneumatic mechanical elements on them. Look at that. Awesome. So, of course, let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts and feelings are on that. Is your preference that they be more uniformal, or are you like me? You like the fact that they've got their own kind of unique character? Interested to hear what your thoughts are. Yeah, definitely. So here we are then, folks. Here's the Arctic Bat going round on the turntable. I've actually kept it in the pose that I used to show off the accessories at the end of the accessory section, because I kind of liked that. Had a bit of energy to it, a bit of action to it, and it's a little bit better than the pose I was using on display yesterday. Although I did do something very similar in some of the photos. Anyway, I'm in the weeds. So is this a MoDXtra Games and Collectibles recommends? Yes, it is. Aside from a few minor criticisms, like the QC around the articulation in the arms and the legs, and the fact that the chainsaw doesn't fit in the backpack for storage, and, you know, the helmet, the head swap paint colour doesn't match up with the uniform. You know, these are all little things, because the overall experience is very, very positive. Great aesthetic, got its own personality and character. I've referenced that a number of times. A wealth of accessories with it to help with your storytelling, to give you something to bring it to life, and supply you options. And it still moves pretty damn good, still poses pretty damn good. It's up to the usual G.I. Joe Classified Series standard, and with 3 thumbs up like that, I've got to recommend it. I think it will particularly come into its own and feel more alive to me when further Arctic-themed characters start coming down the pipeline. I don't own Arctic Storm Shadow. I had to think about his name there for a minute. I nearly said Snow Shadow, but I don't own Arctic Storm Shadow, so I'm waiting on Snow Job, I'm waiting on Snow Serpent to give the Arctic Bat a little bit more of a place in the display. Right now, it's just a different splash of colour, or different-ish splash of colour. I've got some white stuff going on with the mainline Storm Shadow. But I think it'll really come into its own when they come down the pipeline and give it a bit of life. I can't wait to do some fun man-child playtime with Snow Job and the Arctic Bat and get them fighting. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait. And the winter, when the winter comes, I hope it does snow. Oh, wouldn't that be good to do some snowy photos in the garden with your Arctic-themed Joes? Such a big kid. I love it. So yeah, it's a recommend. Absolutely. I think it's got more life, more of a journey to be had, in fact, as it will be complemented by the arrival of other new figures that are in the release schedule. So there we go. There's the Arctic Bat. All right, I'm going to wrap that up there. Then I hope the unboxing and review today has helped you make your mind up whether an Arctic Bat is the figure for you, particularly if you're on the fence. If you found anything useful about this review today, then please do take a moment to head on down to the comments below and throw your thoughts on the page. I love hearing how folks think and feel about these figures too. Give us a like if you found it useful, and don't forget that we now offer channel memberships here at MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. It's a small contribution that you can make each month to help support the channel, show your thanks for the time and effort that I put into it, but also help fund further figure releases for the future so that I can do more reviews for your viewing pleasure and expand the diversity and selection of stuff that I'm reviewing as well. What else? Anything else? I'm an Entertainment Earth affiliate. I don't know. I'm going to stop selling to you now. That'll do. But it's been a real pleasure playing with this one and then sitting down and reviewing it for you. So thanks very much for taking the time to watch my video today. I know there's a wealth of a multitude of other channels that you could spend your time on, so I'm super grateful that you chose to spend your time on mine today. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you around these parts sometime soon. See you later, folks.